I ran the biggest shop in the world for 5 years and not a single customer ever walked through the door. But every day, crews of workers would head out with buckets and come back loaded with cash. This was the biggest water house in the whole city. Every month, just selling water brought in 10,000 taels of silver. And who would have guessed? 5 years ago, I was a beggar on the verge of starving to death. Right when I was at my lowest, the 9th prince, Pei Qinfeng, showed up, and he was after my family heirloom jade pendant. They say it held a path to immortality. I knew I couldn't hold on to it, so I figured, why not trade it for a life of wealth? To my surprise, Pei Qinfeng agreed on the spot, and just like that, I became one of his retainers. I thought I'd just get to live the good life by his side forever. What if I gave the jade back to you, and would you even want it? I'd have to return it to you, my lord. I've already blown through 3,000 tiles these past years, and I can't pay it back. Please have mercy. Just let me stay by your side and keep serving you. Ha! You've got style, I'll give you that. Spending 3,000 tiles in a year. But hey, a servant who knows how to spend money beats a useless one any day. One laugh from Pei Qinfeng, and all that tension in the air just melted away. I finally let out a quiet sigh of relief. Dodged another bullet today. I threw in a quick compliment about his grace and virtue. He gave a satisfied nod, and I kept a straight face. But inside I was cracking up. Anyone else in my shoes would probably be genuinely grateful to him. But me? I'm a time traveler who doesn't buy into any of this feudal stuff. Still, you gotta play the game when you're under someone else's roof. But what he said next actually made my heart skip a beat. This world has immortal cultivation. I've made contact with a real immortal, and lately, he's been asking about you. I caught the hint buried in his words and quickly played dumb, acting all flustered. I'm just a nobody. What could an immortal possibly want with me? Your bloodline was destined for immortality. That immortal was supposed to find you, but you already sold the jade to me. Those words hit different. I was uncomfortable all over, but as a retainer, I had no say in any of this, so I just bowed my head and went along with it. Go to the treasury and take 1,000 taels. I reward and punish fairly. You've been loyal, and I won't shortchange you. Just a casual handout from him, enough to feed tens of thousands of disaster victims for half a year. 3 days later, the manor was decked out in lights and banners. Everyone was waiting to welcome the immortal. Pei Qinfeng dressed to the nines and stood front and center, while I got shoved to the back with the rest of the staff, just part of the scenery. As I watched from a distance, the clouds suddenly split open, and the breathtaking immortal Yunluo slowly descended from the sky. The entire capital fell dead silent, then erupted into thunderous cheers. Countless people dropped to their knees. But here's the weird part. Whether on purpose or not, the immortal suddenly turned and looked straight toward me. Everyone around me hit the ground. I was the only one still standing there like an idiot. In that moment, I burned her image into my memory. I couldn't help but think, man, becoming an immortal must be something else. By the time I snapped back to reality, immortal Yunluo had already arrived at the manor gates. Pei Qinfeng led his household out to greet her, my jade pendant hanging right there on his chest. Pei Qinfeng, 9th son of the Pei family, welcomes the immortal. Yunluo looked confused at first, but the moment she saw the jade glowing with spiritual light, she let it go. She just assumed I'd changed my name. At the banquet that night, dancers swirled in silk, but Pei Qinfeng had eyes only for immortal Yunluo. Just as his feelings were hitting a fever pitch, Yunluo suddenly raised her hand and pointed. That jade pendant of yours? 5 years ago, this was a gift of destiny I received from a wise master. Taking someone else's destiny is no righteous deed. Pei Qinfeng immediately pulled out a document he'd prepared in advance. 3 years ago, an elder of your sect personally handed this transfer letter to me. Yunluo took the document and checked it. The energy was indeed from a sect elder. But in the very next second, her voice went cold. A fate sealed 5,000 years ago. You think 5 years is enough to just rewrite it? I'm not the kind of person who takes things by force. The truth is, the Liu family heir ended up as a beggar on his own. That's why the family elder decided to pass the destiny on to me. Besides, I gave him a lifetime of wealth and comfort. You tell me, is a lifetime of riches worth more than a shot at immortality? Yunluo's gaze seemed to see right through everyone. She knew the great Jing royal family must have offered something in exchange, and that someone inside the sect had quietly allowed them to strip the Liu family of their destiny. So she spoke. Bring the Liu family heir before me. I need to see him in person. Pei Qinfeng calmly ordered his men to bring me over. He was confident. He'd had years to condition me, and figured he already had me completely under his thumb. But after a stick of incense, Yunluo stood before me, just an ordinary mortal, and hesitated. Was it really worth fighting to get my destiny back? I was nothing compared to Pei Qinfeng's power and influence. On top of that, the sect elders probably wouldn't back her on this either. Was she really going to bow to the bigger picture? With that thought weighing on her, immortal Yunluo finally spoke up. Would you like to hear the story behind this fate? Please, immortal, I'm listening. If the Liu family heir proves worthy, they'll be taken in as a disciple. If not, they'll receive a lifetime of wealth and comfort instead. Yunluo was just getting to the details when Pei Qinfeng cut in. I already told him all of this. He willingly gave it to me, of his own free will. The Emperor himself can vouch for that. He hit the words, the Emperor, extra hard. Yunluo's brow furrowed slightly. If that was really the case, this was no longer her call to make. She could only pick the decree back up and read it aloud. The Liu family heir, having failed to strive and fallen into beggary, chose to sell away their ancestral fate. Therefore, the destiny shall be stripped and granted to Pei's ninth son. Pei's ninth son inherits the fruit, and must also repay the cause. Pei Qinfeng smiled and accepted the decree without hesitation. I'll petition my father the emperor to grant him a noble title. Yunlo figured I'd take this in stride. She didn't expect me to just stand there, frozen, the light in my eyes slowly going out. After a long silence, I finally said quietly, when I was starving, I had no right to even think about the future. If I had to choose again, I'd still sell the jade. Because you have to survive first. Everything else comes after. Either endure until the end or wait for your moment and rise. Yunluo didn't feel great about any of this either. The sect elders had made the mess, so why was she the one playing the villain? Maybe it was guilt. She held out a red pill. This is my sect's life core immortal elixir. Swallow it and you'll live a long, healthy life. 100 years easy. Consider it my way of making it up to you. What she didn't know in that moment was that this one decision would tie her fate to mine. Permanently. The next second, I stared at that red pill, and a sharp, aching pain hit me right in the chest. Like the moment I swallowed it, something incredibly important would be gone from me forever. Was it my path to immortality? But honestly, even if it was, what could I do? Just like back then, when I knew that Jade Pendant mattered more than anything, and sold it anyway.